Well, I'm with Mike Gaudioso here at Global Coin Headquarters. Thanks for coming, Mike.
Thanks, Evan.
Flew all the way up here from Florida. And we want to ask a couple of questions. I have the group here as well. And we're going to fire a couple of questions at Mike and go from there. So first off, we've never talked to anyone that worked for the U.S. Mint, so thanks again for coming. Tell us a little bit about your background, training. I know you've took a long path, obviously, and involved going to Russia and classically trained. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was, as a kid, I always knew I loved classical art. And trying to find a place to study back in the early 80s was almost impossible in America. Modern art took over. Friends of mine had said stories about the Pennsylvania Academy. They had a day where they destroyed all the plaster casts because that stuff wasn't useful anymore. So it was really tough to find somewhere to study. And anyone you did find was making it up themselves. They weren't part of a tradition, a lineage. So I traveled through Europe. It was the same thing. I went to France, Belgium, Italy, and you couldn't find any really strong academy to study in. So someone mentioned Russia. And I said, Russia? I said, well, I'll try. And I went there, and it was walking back in time. It was like America back in the 1920s. And my first day there, I'm working, sculpting, and the teacher walks in the room, and all the students, they put their tools down, and they take a few steps back, and they just put their heads down. And I thought, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Well, the teacher walks up to the sculpture, says a few words, and does this, and this, and fixes it, and walks to the next student. Well, he walked right by me. I didn't get any attention for a few weeks. And I didn't speak Russian. So I set my task. I found the best student in the school. He actually spoke English. And I said, I'll hire the models. I lived on a whole $4 a day. I was loaded. And I said, I just want to watch you work. I'll hire the models. I'll pay for lunch. And we worked together for about 6 months. After the first year, I was the best draftsman in the first year of sculpture studio. It went to 6 years. And then after the second year, I was one of the best in the sculpture department. I was fortunate. I was able to hire models all during the Christmas break. I had the money to get all the things I needed. I didn't have to spend time working. And the big bonus was I got to switch studios because I was paying cash. And I went to the painting studios departments, and they drew really well. So I started studying with the painters, and before you knew it, I was one of the top draftsmen in the school. They hated that. They got really pissed.
Was that always the plan that you were going to be there that long, or was it supposed to be a short
I was going to be
stint?
there as long as I needed to be there. It wound up being 5 years.
Okay.
And it was a tough thing. I had a Chinese roommate my first 2 years there, and he didn't speak English. I didn't speak Chinese. He spoke Russian a little bit. And after about a year and a half, everyone said, your Russian's getting really good, but you got a Chinese accent. And I did. It was unbelievable.
So you're the only one in Russia with the Chinese accent.
Yeah.
I
I used to get pulled over by the police a lot. Russians are really good with shaving and this and that, and I would grow a beard.
Yeah.
They thought I was Chechnyan, so the police would always pull me over with the guns. And they see my passport, and they say, oh, you're American. They throw at your face. Yeah, it was rough being an American there. Especially Clinton was bombing Kosovo. That was even worse. Didn't make it easy.
Right.
But I worked as hard as I could, and it was the best school in the world. It really was. And it still is. Little did I know I could have gone to Poland or Czechoslovakia, because they were part of the Eastern Bloc, they maintained that tradition as well.
Oh, okay.
I would have probably much rather have gone to Poland, a little more U.S. friendly.
Right.
But Russia was what it was.
Yeah.
So that's where I got my education.
So then you come back from Russia, and then what's next?
Got to find a job.
Yeah.
And again, it's a tough market. But there was a tradition in Philadelphia as well. There was an old school plaster studio, Karolfi Studios, and a lot of sculptors worked there. 2 or 3 of the sculptors at the U.S. Mint now also work there. And it gave you do learn molding and casting when you're in school, but you don't get the fine points of it. So it was something that was necessary. Right. I became a master craftsman in molding and casting. And I worked there for a few years, but I wanted to go out on my own.
Yeah.
So what I started doing was I got a studio, and I opened up my own sculpture studio. And I started doing architectural ornament, portraits, things like that. And I quit that place. I started teaching in Villanova, taught drawing there. And all the time waiting, because in Philadelphia, you know the U.S. Mint is going to hire. And it's a small town, so the word gets around quick. But after that, I got a job at a stained glass company, and I painted stained glass windows for 3 years. Painted over 200 churches, and that was a really wonderful job. The place was unstable because it's a tough industry. How often do you need to do a church?
Right.
But it was a wonderful job. And then I got the word that the U.S. Mint was hiring.
Now, it sounds like you knew that at some point the opportunity might come up then.
Yeah. Most sculptors in Philadelphia, I don't know how it is. It's a small town when it comes to sculpture. Everyone knows it really.
Right.
And the word came up. Not everyone's prepared to work there. That's the thing.
Yep.
And I was semi-prepared. I wasn't prepared for the amount of detail that they require. Being from the Russian school, if anyone knows Russian socialist art, it's rough. And finishing art isn't a big deal to them. It's more about form.
Okay.
So the U.S. Mint told me how to finish a piece. So that was important. But I applied for the job, and I got the job.
Tell the story with your wonderful wife that you told me
So,
last night. I think that
well,
was
I get the application in the mail, and it's like a small encyclopedia. And I sat there for 10 minutes looking at it, and my wife grabbed it out of my hand and said, "Give me that thing right now." She filled out the whole thing for me, and so I couldn't have done it. So she mails it off, and something pops in her head, and she walks back to the FedEx store and says, "Can I please have that back?" Well, I never signed it, and my wife signed my name on it. And the reason that was so important is because it came down to me and one other guy winning the position, and he put the wrong job title number, and they threw his application out just for that. Me not signing it would have thrown it out. So I wouldn't have had the job, and it would have gone all over again, and I would have had to compete again.
And you know how many applicants? You told me last time.
Over 100.
Yeah, 100 different applicants, down to him and one other guy.
So,
and if she wouldn't have had that, and she thought like a voice almost said, "Hey, something's not right with the paperwork," or something she was saying last night. Crazy.
Yeah.
So you recall the papers.
She signs my name.
She signs your name off the record.
And the next thing you know, I get the job. And I hit the ground running, which is, it's another issue. You got to be able to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Within the first month, I had my first design selected. It was the first spouse program.
Okay. Yep.
And I was proud of that. It doesn't happen very often that someone just starts to get a design selected.
So who decided that? Did you?
That was John Mercani ultimately would say what he likes, and then the CCAC, the Citizens Coinage Committee, would give your input. But John ultimately had the decision if he wanted to fight it.
Okay.
That was it. But I really got a dose of the U.S. Mint. I did the Olympic National Park, and it was a deer standing on the bank of a river, and there was all these pebbles on the beach. And so I got the criticisms back from sales and marketing. They said they gave me the design, and it had all these little red marks. And I said, "What are these?" And they said, "Oh, those are the stones that you didn't put on the beach." And I said, "You're kidding me, right?" And they said, "No." And I had to go back and trace and find every single stone that wasn't there. And I'm talking there were hundreds upon hundreds of stones.
They wanted every stone.
They wanted every single one there. And I thought, okay, this is what I'm dealing with here.
Right. This is different.
This is different.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good or bad.
Right.
This is very different from I'm using my own artistic intuition to make it look this way or that. You don't do that at the Mint.
Right.
Even if it's your design, you have to make it look exactly like the design you presented.
Okay.
You can't say, "Yeah, but you know what? I think it looks better this way." No. That doesn't work.
Right.
You can't do it. It has to look exactly like what they selected.
Right.
So it's interesting.
So I have all the different designs, and I have a list here. These are all designs, sculpting credits. This is from Wiki. Looks like you've been busy. Native American dollar, presidential dollar, 2015-14. First spouse gold coins, code talkers recognition, American Eagle silver dollar, obviously the most well known, with the reverse of 2021. American Eagle platinum proof coin, American Liberty 2019. I could go on and on, obviously, about 25 or 30 or more that you have credited to. Which one was your favorite one, would you say?
Code talkers.
Okay.
They were congressionals.
Okay.
And everyone likes doing a congressional vote. You get much higher relief.
Okay.
It's they're usually way more creative.
Okay.
And we did, I can't remember how many it was, 3 dozen or more. So the whole team was focused on just the code talkers. And I think within 6 months we got the name on. John McConney was the head there.
Okay.
He was really proud of us. And as soon as I had 3 or 4 of my designs selected for that program, which was wonderful.
So were you always in competition then with other people in the room? Is that
yes and no?
Okay.
They were honest, and even if someone had a better design, we would always want the best design.
Okay. Okay.
So there was competition, but there wasn't.
So the balance with teamwork and
Yeah.
Okay.
The Code Talkers was one of the best highlights of the US thing. Okay. Everyone just kept working, and
that was your favorite one to work on. Tell us about like day-to-day life at the U.S. Mint. So we had Stephanie Saban, president of BCGS, and she told some really interesting stories of just the process that they go through, different things that happened that we weren't aware of inside BCGS. And we've never talked to anyone inside the U.S. Mint before. When you were telling me a little bit last night, and some of it may not be for the film, obviously, but it sounded like it was just kind of a loose, fun group of people. There's only a few of you.
There was 5 or 6 of us
Okay.
at the time. That's usually what it's about.
Yeah.
And one of the hiring processes there is the vibe that the person gives off.
Sure.
And everyone got along really well when I was there.
Yeah.
When I left, there was a person that came in and he rubbed people the wrong way.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's the reason he's not there anymore. It reflected in how he took, direction in working.
Okay.
I like the idea of not being able to do or put his own expression to an idea. Can't do that.
Can't do that.
I'm going to lose it. So everyone got along really well. Usually went to lunch together. Joked all day long.
Yeah.
It was nonstop. Everyone developed their own little personality quirks that everyone else would, at one point or another, gang up on them and make fun of them.
Sure.
Practical jokes. It's like any environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a serious, stuffy, artistic environment. Everyone jokes.
Yeah.
And there's feuds that happen too.
Sure. It's a family.
Yeah.
You have a small group like that. It's gonna happen.
So, but it was a lot like what you have here.
Yeah.
Everyone decorated their cubicles with what they liked, and practical joked each other, and gave each other support.
Yeah.
One thing about the U.S. Mint, if someone was better at something, the other person would step in and say, "We can help you." Okay. And they would do it.
Okay. Wow.
So there were certain digital things that I had problems with, and there were more than enough people to step in and take 15 minutes and show you digitally how to do it, or to take over and finish it for you.
Did they accept you right away when you came in? Or like,
no.
First day. It takes
It
a while.
It takes a little bit of while.
Sure.
I didn't open up with my personality
Sure.
for a while, right?
Right. Keep your head down, get your stuff done.
Yeah. But in the beginning, everyone's cordial.
Yeah.
But they're feeling you out.
Yeah.
To see if you're going to fit in.
Yeah. If you fit in, if you got the stuff, probably too, right?
Oh, that's most important.
Right.
But I was told after I left it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And I was, I'm very outgoing.
Yeah.
I like communicating. I like to make an environment festive and fun.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure they're all doing great now.
What's the shelf life on somebody who in that position? I mean, the average, is there like...
I did 13 years.
Yeah.
Some of the people are up to 20 years there.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's as long as you want, really.
Sure. So this is just going to be kind of an interesting thing. I think I got a kick out of it. He told me a lot of stories last night, and this one was one of my favorites. So his wife, Linda, who I met last night at dinner, was down in Florida already, keep in mind he's in Philadelphia working at the U.S. Mint, and of course he wants to go see his wife, so he would fly down back and forth over and over and over again. Obviously, go down and visit her. Will you tell the story that you told me last night?
Yeah, I might as well.
Yeah, since I already led you into it.
We moved out of Philadelphia and sold our house, and I flew back every week. This went on for 3 years. I flew in on a Sunday night or a Monday morning, did my 4 days, and then flew back to Philadelphia. Well, every night, people would start leaving, and I'd say, I'll lock up. I'm going to work late. And I'd work for a few more hours. And then, I'd lock the door and pull out my mattress. And I lived at the U.S. Mint for 3 years. It was my secondary home.
True story. Wow. He lived at the U.S. Mint.
I brought in enough food. I had a mattress, blankets, and pillows shoved under my desk. And the first week I stayed there, at about 4 a.m, I heard the door open. And a security guard walked in. And I was quick enough to throw the mattress back in my cubicle when I was out of his view. And he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I got in early. I got a deadline today." And he went, "Oh, that's crazy." And I said, "I know, it's so crazy." And so then I realized I got to be up at 4 o'clock every morning. And I set up a bathroom, because you didn't want to be walking to the bathroom in the hallway at 3 a.m.
Raised a lot of red flags, yep.
So for 3 years, we had a refrigerator, coffee maker, microwave. I brought all my food. I'm working late, and then when they came in the morning, I got here early. After 2.5 years, they started getting suspicious, and they started suspecting, I think he's sleeping here every night.
Why is he always the last to leave, the very first one in the office?
So, yeah, it was something else. But then during COVID, we got to work from home, and my wife loved having me home. Yeah. And she said, you should quit. And I said, "Are you sure?" And I was glad she did, because I couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
Just too much back and forth. It was too much. And then I gave my resignation, but it was the best job I ever had.
Yeah.
Other than what I'm doing now.
There you go. Where you can do whatever the heck you want to now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, probably in U.S. Mint history, very, very probably the only person who slept at the U.S. Mint. And not just like a night. I'm sure someone could have fallen asleep. But like that was
3 years.
That was home for 3 years.
And it's almost exactly 3 years, slightly over 3 years that I did it. I look back and I think I commuted for 3 years. That's every week.
And with no sleep. Did you sleep on an air mattress or a raft? I think your wife said last
She
night.
would get,
whatever she could find for him.
The lifespan of the blow up raft.
Yeah, anything that would.
Because I could sneak in. It's actually I had a little plug-in air pump.
Oh, there you go. So you could just
and it went.
inflate it.
And I was like, "Oh my God, it's making so much noise, and I'm blowing up the air pump, and I'm sleeping there." My wife hated it. She was like, "What is wrong with you? Why don't you go back to South Philly?" And it's like a 4-mile walk or something.
Right.
It's late at night, and I got to Uber it or walk, and then in the morning come back. I said, "I'm not doing it, because then I would have to stay with someone."
Right.
And I didn't want to do that.
Right.
So it turned into, and I got way more work done.
I was going to say, think about the efficiency. You wake up, you're already at the office.
I had work done in record time, because I'm putting in that extra 3 or 4 hours. I'm not getting paid for it.
Right.
It didn't matter. I was getting the work done.
Yeah. Last one, first one in.
Yeah.
According to them. And then they finally realized, of course, that you just were living there. So you mentioned John Mercanti, obviously a huge name in the industry. And I know last time we were talking about Iskowitz. What are some of the other names of people that we've heard of that we've seen either in signatures or people who are famous at the U.S. Mint who have done a lot? You've met a lot
John's
of
the big name. John is the big name at the U.S. And he was the best chief engraver. So laid back. He would go out and they would have drinks in the afternoon. It was he worked there when you still smoked.
Right.
And, it was normal.
Right.
He was really old school. He'd sit there on his computer and tell you. It's not very different from me.
One by one. Yeah.
But he always had your back. He was just a great chief engraver.
Okay.
And I'll never forget when it was his last day, we walked him out. And he was choked up. He said, when I'm really starting to get good, now I'm retiring. Right. And I know what he means. You start really picking up skills there.
Yep.
And then you retire.
Right.
But if you keep working, you only get better and better.
Yeah.
So,
But no regrets.
no.
Time was right to leave.
Mhm. Yeah, the time was perfect. And, other big names there, like Don Everhart retired. He's probably one of the most prolific of all of the engravers. He's done so much work. I learned a lot from him. Don was a master at being able to take a coin and make it pop off of the basin. And he's an expert in his field. He really is. So, and there's been other people that haven't done as much outside of it.
Okay. So then you're done at the U.S. Mint. You're down in Florida, and you're asking yourself probably, what's next?
Yeah.
Right. So tell us about that phase, and then what led you to where we are now with Beyond Relief, Silver Eagle, and Buffalo.
What happened was I knew I did the Silver Eagle, and I knew it was going to be big. I didn't know how big. But Miles from NGC, everyone remembers Miles Standish, he gave me a call. He got word that I retired. I sculpted the American Eagle, and he said, "You want to sign on for doing labels?" I said, "Sure." And so I signed a contract with them, cashed out everything that I had from the U.S. Mint, because I knew it was going to be an interesting transition.
Yep.
And the next thing you know, I started getting phone calls for jobs. And I started doing coin work on the side. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It really turned into something wonderful, but I wanted to do more. So in between jobs, I wanted to keep my skills up. At the U.S. Mint, you're always keeping your skills up because it's one coin after another, one design after another. When you're working on your own, in between jobs, you got to keep working.
Yeah.
So I said, well, let me think. What's the best thing to do? Copy the old masters. So I took the Walking Liberty, and I said, I'm going to do it big. It'll look nice on my wall. I'll do a big copy of it. And I was working, and my wife's in the living room. And at the time, my granddaughter and daughter are living with us.
Okay.
So it was a big festive environment. I was having a studio built in the back. I was building that. And I thought, it's so flat. I said, I'm going to bring it out a little more, make it a little higher than it was.
Yeah.
And then it kept getting higher and higher. And my wife walked up to me and she said, "What are you doing? Just make it come all the way off. Make it coming to life." And I said, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah, just do it. It'll look really good." I don't listen to her enough. And I did. And then I thought, oh, this is interesting because now I have to envision what her portrait's going to look like.
Right.
We're only looking at half of her. What's the other side?
Never been done. Right.
Normally what happens in art is, especially and only with relief, you're looking at a model of 3-dimension. I'm looking at you.
Yep.
And I have to make you and compress you onto relief.
Right.
So no one ever looks at a relief and says, I'm going to make it in the round. That's crazy. You don't do that.
Right.
So we did it. And it worked out really beautiful.
How many takes did it take to get?
Oh, it took months for me to do that.
Okay.
Months. And
does that mean when you say redo it, is it starting from scratch each time or just making alterations?
I just raise it.
Yeah.
Okay. Continuous work.
Okay. Yeah.
But then you stand back about 20 feet from it. It's one of the main things you do. You stand back and you look at it. I had it set up where the photograph of the Liberty was exactly the same size.
Okay.
So I can compare the two of them.
Yeah.
And again, you can't copy it other than measuring. Okay. So I know the arm is this long. I'm making it this big. It has to be this long. But when it comes to the actual design moving in space, you got to rely on your eyes to do that.
Okay.
And that was the hardest part.
Sure.
Because it looks great from the front.
Yeah.
But when you look at it from 3/4 view, her arm, the one that's holding all the flowers, it's smushed in. It's got to come out more.
Okay.
It has to come out more without altering the way it looks from the front because it has to be the coin.
Right.
So it's huge.
Right. So
and that was the easy one.
Okay.
Compared to what we're doing now.
Right.
So what we're doing now is 10 times harder.
Right. And describe that then. Why is it 10 times harder?
Actual portraits. So for the Buffalo nickel, the Indian portrait on the back, you have to make it look like him from the front.
Right.
And there were 3 different references they used for the buffalo nickel. Laura Gordon Fraser when she sculpted it. So I had to find all 3 of the Indians, photographs of them, and they're not good photographs. They're horrible, but you have to make it look like the Indian nickel from the front, which has never been done.
Right.
And it took quite a while. Because, again, if you're sculpting the front, and I'm sculpting you from here, well, from this view, what you did has to still match what the coin looks like.
Right.
So you're always sculpting this way and then turning it back and forth.
Right.
So it was a lot.
Right.
But it's fun.
And obviously, we look at it here and how it all turned out. We have our silver eagle, and then we have our buffalo. And I mean, the reaction from our clientele, then when we show them, first off, just pictures and emails on the front end describing it, and then they receive it, and it's just been overwhelming, obviously. And you get to talk to some of our clients today, and their reaction is just absolutely fantastic. As you look at that, you know, what was the most challenging as you look at it and you recount all the time, all the hours in the studio?
In the buffalo?
Yeah.
You know what was the most interesting part? It was making the decision on the face.
Okay.
When she sculpted the buffalo's face, something's off.
Oh.
I don't want to question her as an artist.
Sure.
She was a master.
Right.
Either they couldn't get a proper sample of a buffalo head,
Right.
or something happened, but the head is off. Particularly the nose and the muzzle. It's just wrong. And I never look at that nickel the same way again. Because I pulled up all the anatomy notes.
Did you notice it before you started working on this? Okay. So once you dug deep, then you're like,
once you dug deep, you look at it, you go, it's not right.
Right.
Something's off. I don't know what it was. And then do I make the change?
Right.
Or not?
Right. Right.
And I decided to make the change.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it to be correct, but I tried to keep everything as accurate to the point as possible.
Absolutely.
But I couldn't do it in good faith, leaving the nostril, the muzzle area of the buffalo the way she had it.
Okay.
I had to change it.
Now there's other ones coming up, obviously, and Bob's in the room and probably don't want to tease too much, but the next one is completed already. It sounds like, and you're already working on the one after that. It sounds like, so you're staying plenty busy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah,
these are real challenges, and especially the one now that we're doing. It's when it came to this, you have an eye. With the Indian head on the back, even in the coin, you can see what's going on here.
Okay.
With the next one, everything that's in the back of the head has to be completely made up because there is no image of it.
Got it.
So
start completely from scratch. You can really make it whatever you want, which is challenging and exhilarating.
It has to fit.
Right.
One of the other issues is finding a good image.
Right.
So many of the coins are worn down. And to get a good image, I mean, you have to see the wall in my studio. I have 15 different images of the same coin with different lighting, different exposure, different qualities, just so you can see there's something you missed.
Right. Every time.
Every time you look at a coin, another image of it has something slightly different, and it all makes a difference.
So from start to finish, you get this project, and they say, I want you to build that. What are we talking about for time frame and like hours? Do you have any even guesstimate on what kind of hours you have in something like that?
It's probably casting is just as more difficult.
Okay.
2.5 months, 3 months.
Okay. Right.
This one that I'm working on now specifically is even longer because it's we're doing the St. Gaudens and he's an even bigger master than I thought he was.
Okay.
After trying to copy his work.
Yeah.
So I pulled up actual portraits of his. I even looked online to try to buy a portrait.
Okay.
To really get into his head and how he thought about sculpting portraits. And I had to tear it down twice.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I stood back. Again, I have the photographs and I have the relief and I stand back and I said, something's off.
Right.
And you can only measure so much.
Right.
And it has to work from the front and 3/4 view. So, but now I finally nailed it, and I'm working on finishing this part up.
Okay. So you're getting close.
Getting close.
Cool. Now, last night you said that you had, if there's no regrets, there's something that you said you'd love to have done at the U.S. event, and it didn't happen.
No.
But it could happen now, perhaps with one of the programs that we're doing together in the future. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
One of the things I wanted to do, and I don't know where this comes from. It has to do with my upbringing.
The mischievous kid in you.
The kid in me, when I was a kid, we all dreamed about pirates. We dreamed about getting away with things.
Goonie stuff.
The Goonie kind of stuff. We heard about someone robbing a bank, and we were like, whoa. And it's kind of what city kids did.
Yeah.
We snuck in abandoned buildings. We always wanted to get away with something. Well, at the U.S. Mint, I always wanted to encode one of my coins. So I wanted to put some type of rebellious political message in the hair and do it in a way that you can never find it unless the word leaked out that something like this was done.
Right.
Of course, I would have been fired for it. But I didn't care. But thankfully, the opportunity never came up.
Right.
Because I would have did it. It required the proper portrait.
Right.
The proper subject, because I couldn't just take, one of the state quarters and put something crazy in it.
Right.
It had to be something political that I wanted to do. So, I told my wife, and she had a heart attack. She said, "You better not. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to lose the job." And I was just like, "I know." So, by the grace of God, it didn't happen.
Right.
So, but it's not stopping me from doing something else.
Right. Exactly.
So
I love the idea, though, the hidden message, because the idea was retired, don't tell a soul.
Don't tell anyone until I leave.
And then slowly maybe leak it out.
It's a national treasure.
Yeah, exactly. And he referenced that flick last night,
Yeah.
National Treasure. So,
I would have gotten away with it too. If it wasn't for those meddling kids.
And that darn dog. Yeah. So now we have this coming to life, something that's never been done before. Is there any other projects, is there anything that you feel like, besides what we were just talking about, that you haven't done yet, that's like, before I'm done doing this, before I'm done sculpting and doing all this stuff, something I have to do? Is there anything like that that's still on the wish list to get done?
On the wish list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I walk down the street and I see things and I go, oh, that would be a great sculpture. So it's never ending.
Right. Okay.
There's no finishing.
Yep. Okay.
I
Never
did
done
it all. No, because there's always something.
Yep. Something you'll see and
that I want to do.
Yep.
That's never going to end. But I will end my career, if I can, with something sneaky.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I have to do it.
Again, mischievous.
I will do something, and I'll take it to my grave.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, I hope we're in the inside, so we get to help leak it out at the end.
I'll make sure everyone does.
That's fantastic. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was great meeting you.
You too.
Cool.